Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm cooking jollof rice with a twist. I am going to show you how I cook jollof rice and stew together. It makes my life very easy. So let me show you what I'm going to be using. Some tomatoes, bell pepper, 3 of them, 2 onions, 5 habanero, some bay leaves, nutmeg, seasoning cubes, tomato paste, salt, garlic powder, rosemary, thyme, cumin, ginger, smoked paprika, olive oil, curry, and some peas. There is no jollof rice without rice, so I'm using 6 cups of long grain rice. If you have been following my channel, you know how I cook my meat. I cook it for a little bit, bring it to a boil, then rinse out that foamy part, then I'll start cooking. I will add in some onion. I have an onion, a teaspoon of cumin, I have a tablespoon of ginger, a teaspoon of garlic powder, some salt, 2 seasoning cubes, half a tablespoon of curry powder, some habanero. It's just 1 habanero, I just sliced it. So I'm using turkey. If you know anything about this meat, it doesn't have any taste. It depends on the spices you use. So if you don't spice it, it doesn't taste like anything. So I'm using a lot of water because I want to make broth from it. The broth to make the stew and the jollof rice. But if you don't want this, you have broth already saved, you could just marinate it, air fry it or deep fry it or cook it a little bit. So I'm not cooking this to cook it done. I just want the flavor in the meat. So I'm just gonna cut the vegetables into little chunks so that it will help my blender. In the pot, I'm gonna add 2.5 cups of olive oil. If you have peanut oil, that is preferable, but use whatever vegetable oil you like. So if you are used to cooking with olive oil, when it is hot, there's a smell. It has one distinct smell. You know it's ready. Another way, you can use your wooden spoon. Just put it in, and when it starts bubbling, you see those little bubbles, you know the oil is hot. So I'm gonna add in the onions. I sliced the half of an onion. I'm gonna fry it till it is translucent. I'm going to add in the bay leaves, and it's gonna release its flavor. At this moment, I'm gonna add in 1/3 of a cup of tomato paste or tin tomatoes. I'm gonna fry it a little bit. I like to do it this way to neutralize that acidic taste. I don't like it. So I'm gonna add in the fresh tomato, pepper, the mixture. I'm gonna let it cook for a little bit. This is where the frying begins. So I'm gonna add some of the spices. A tablespoon of paprika, smoked paprika. Half a tablespoon of ginger powder. I'm just gonna mix them together. I'm going to add another half a tablespoon of smoked paprika to it and mix it. Paprika is for taste and color. I'm just gonna grate in some nutmeg. If you don't like it, it's okay, it's optional. I'm gonna add some salt and let it cook for a while. So this is the first 15 minutes after I started frying. I'm just gonna mix it a little bit. We don't want it to burn. So I'm adding 1/4 of a teaspoon of thyme, half a teaspoon of rosemary, If you prefer thyme, you can omit rosemary. I don't really like thyme a lot. So I'm gonna crush it in my hand to break it into little chunks and release the flavor too. I'm adding 2 seasoning cubes. I'm gonna let it cook. The turkey has been cooking for a while now, so it's done. I want to air fry it. You can see it didn't really cook down because I wanted the broth. So I'm gonna air fry it. If you have an oven, you can use an oven. If you want to deep fry it, you can still do it too. If you don't want to fry it, it is okay. So it has been cooking for 1 hour. You have to constantly stir it. So I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of curry powder to enhance the flavor and just mix it around. So it's 1 hour 30 minutes. I've been stirring for every... Oh god, that burns. See why I like to slow cook? See all those splatter everywhere. Oh my god. Wow, it just burned me. So I'm gonna use a mitten to protect myself. I love slow cooking stew. You wouldn't believe this is one of the reasons, because of this burn. I don't want it to burn me. It's like frying fish. If you have ever fried fish, you know. If you are fried stew, you know what I'm talking about. I cannot overemphasize the need of frequent stirring, like 5 to 7 minutes, especially when it is almost done, like it's drier. You have to constantly do it. So it is already 2 hours into frying. It is practically done. You can see the oil floating on top. It tastes so amazing. It is ready. If you want to stop at this moment, you are free. See the oil at the top. So at this moment, I'm gonna turn down the heat to low heat to simmer while I'm getting ready to do other things. But you could turn it off if you want. I cannot overstate why I don't like cooking on a rapid heat. I like to cook it slow cook because it is easier, no burn. See the splatter everywhere. You have to clean this up, and it burns when it splashes on your body. Some people cover it. I don't like to cover it because it's what's the point? You're going to be gathering more fluid into the stew. It is time to cook the rice. Bring the water to a boil and add the rice to the water. I am going to let it simmer for 5 minutes. I'm not cooking it. I just want to reduce the starch. But if you don't want to do this, you can just boil water and pour it into the rice. Cover it for some minutes. It's the same thing. You are good to go. So it's time to wash it. I'm just going to pour out the water. I'm going to rinse it out. Just wash it. So be careful when you are washing it. The rice is really hot. You have to use cold water. Make sure the water runs over it, because if you put in your hand, it's gonna burn you. So when it is cool enough, you can start washing it to reduce the starch. So I'm gonna transfer the rice back into the pot, just the rice, no fluid. So I'm gonna take it to the stove top. So I'm using the broth from the turkey. I'm just gonna add in enough to be the same level, at the same level as the rice. You do not want to drown the rice in excess fluid. You can add it gradually, but if it's too much, you can still remove it. So I'm gonna be watching how much I add before I add in the stew part of the jollof rice. So it is time to add the stew part of the jollof rice. So I'm gonna be measuring it with a cup so that you know how much I used. I'm gonna add them to the rice. So this is 4 cups of the stew. I'm gonna mix it together. I'm adding additional cups, so it's 5 cups right now. I'm gonna mix it together. It looks good enough for me. Don't forget to check for salt. I'm adding a teaspoon of curry and some salt. I'm gonna mix together. Then I'll start cooking. I'm cooking on medium heat. You could cook medium low. I'm gonna cover it so that the heat is gonna help with the cooking. I just remembered I normally add a some on the top, so I just added half a cup of the stew on top. I'm gonna cover it and let it cook. So this is the stew part, the leftover. I told you jollof rice is rice and stew, but combined. So I'm gonna add in the broth and cook for a bit. Then I'm gonna add curry powder, a teaspoon of curry powder, and some salt. Stew is ready. Very, very easy. This is 2 in 1. Don't forget to check for salt before you add some more salt. So I just added some. This is a good time to add whatever meat, fish you have. So I'm gonna add in some meat. So stew is ready, my people. Stew is ready. Now we have jollof rice and stew. You can cook white rice, save it till later, put it in the fridge, you are good to go. See, stew is ready. So let's check jollof rice. So jollof rice is ready. So this is 30 minutes later. It is done. When you put in the spoon, you're gonna feel that it is dry at the bottom. I'm gonna add 2 cups of peas. You can add more if you want, but I'm using 2 cups of peas. I'm just gonna gently fold it in. See, it's so beautiful. It tastes so yummy, very inviting. This is crowd pleasing. I'm just gonna mix it in. I've turned off the heat, so I'm just gonna let it cook in the heat of the rice, and it's gonna continue cooking. I'm just gonna cover it for at least 5 minutes so that the peas will cook in the heat of the rice. Yummylicious. See how beautiful it looks. Thanks for watching. Try this recipe. It's tasty, I promise you. And if you like this recipe, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, share, invite your friends, like, click the notification button. Till I see you next time. Bye.